I'm James Jacobe.
And I'm Izzy Price.
It's 1 p.m. and the Newsfeed starts now.
The community of Paradise is mourning the loss of 7-year-old Athena Strand following a 2-day search that ended in tragedy. Athena's body was found last Friday night after she went missing Wednesday in northwest of Fort Worth.
The Weiss County Sheriff's Office has charged FedEx Tanner Lynn Horner with capital murder and aggravated kidnapping in connection with her death. Horner is being held in the Weiss County Jail on a $1.5 million bond. Horner is now believed to be related to the girl and not to the family.
A North Texas mother is charged with human trafficking and is now tied to a man who is accused of taking sexual pictures of children all over the country and selling them using social media. A Dallas police investigation led to the arrest of 39-year-old Stacy Lee Jurek of Wiley. She's charged with human trafficking involving a child. Investigators believe the crimes happened between October 2021 and March of this year, and they are connected to a much larger investigation involving photographer Grant Durtsky. The connection led them to this North Texas case and Jurek's arrest. Police say she was present for photo shoots with an 8-year-old victim in Denton. Fair Park has revealed images of major planned renovations, including an overhaul of the Cotton Bowl. The Classic Stadium is one of just 6 planned after Dallas voters passed the proposition. The bill is expected to raise $300 million toward revitalizing Fair Park. Planners say this will ease traffic in and out of the Cotton Bowl. Restrooms will be added, and among the plans, more seating and cover from the sun and rain. They say this will be accomplished while meeting the standards for historic places.
The U.S. Secret Service says hackers linked to the Chinese government stole at least $20 million in COVID relief. The hackers raided unemployment insurance funds and small business administration loan money in more than a dozen U.S. states. The Secret Service blames the theft on APT-41, a well-known group that has allegedly schemed on behalf of its Beijing for years. It's unclear if this operation was for self-enrichment or for the Chinese government.
Russia is blaming Ukraine for another strike on one of its airfields, this one in the Kursk region near Ukraine's northeastern border. Russia is responding with a barrage of missile strikes that have knocked out the power and water in several areas of Ukraine. CNN's Sam Kiley has more.
For the second day in a row, the Russians have accused Ukraine of attacking an airbase deep inside Russia, this one at the Kursk airbase. They're saying that an oil tanker was hit as a result of what they claim is a Ukrainian drone missile attack. Now, the Ukrainians have not responded in any significant way. This is their normal pattern. They do not claim or deny responsibility for attacks that have been conducted or appear to have been conducted inside Russia. In the past, we've seen ammunition dumps explode. We've seen buildings burn down quite deep into Russia. And of course, there was a substantial attack on the Russian airbase in the Crimea, where a number of aircraft were destroyed then. But Victoria Nuland, the Undersecretary of State, who is responsible for Ukraine, has said in an interview here in Kiev, or following meetings in Kiev, that not commenting directly on whether or not these attacks were conducted by Ukraine, but did say that she believed that Ukraine was developing the capability to conduct this sort of attack. Why does it matter? Because as far as the United States and NATO is concerned, they have extracted from Ukraine, or at least they're making the demand of Ukraine, that Ukraine does not use any NATO-supplied weapons to attack Russian territory in and of itself. They can use them inside their own borders, but not across the border. And that is because they fear a very dangerous, potentially, ultimately, even a nuclear reaction coming from the Kremlin. Sam Kiley, CNN in Kramatorsk.
A guitar in France has been put up for auction. Who did it belong to, and what is it expecting to sell for? That story and more coming up when the news feed returns.
How you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Thank you.
A place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. so let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man, women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
Man, it's lonely. Like, going through life lonely.
There is the therapeutic aspect of music, just expressing how you feel. I'm going to talk to Howie about his feelings, make it into a song.
The FBI joins investigation who intentionally opened fire and attacked the North Carolina power system. Gunfire caused millions of dollars in damage to 2 power substations. The sabotage plunged around 40 million people into darkness on Saturday. Mike Valerio has the latest.
It's an attack upending the lives of tens of thousands of people. Law enforcement in Moore County, North Carolina confirmed an intentional and targeted attack on power substations with the damage caused by gunfire.
What happened here Saturday night was a criminal attack, and federal, state, and local law enforcement are actively working to bring those responsible to justice.
Officials said the person or people who opened fire knew exactly what they were doing. Equipment at 2 substations vandalized and a gate from 1 substation taken off its hinges.
Got no way to heat because we don't have a fireplace. And then we don't have no gas grill or anything like that, so we're just stranded.
Around 40,000 people initially lost power Saturday night as temperatures hovered around freezing. Among the emergency ripple effects,
our medical calls have increased due to people maybe being on oxygen or having other medical devices that require power.
The local utility said Thursday could be when all power is restored. A countywide curfew and emergency declaration is in effect, while federal and state law enforcement keep investigating.
That is not done without some organization, and it is not taken lightly. So these people will be facing significant criminal sentencing if they are convicted.
I can promise you to the perpetrators out there, we will find you.
I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
Maryland became the latest state to ban TikTok for government employees. Governor Larry Hogan issued a release announcing the new policy on Tuesday. Executive branch employees in Maryland are now prohibited from using TikTok, Alibaba, WeChat, and other platforms with origins in China and Russia. It comes a week after South Dakota's governor issued a similar mandate.
A guitar thought to belong to Maria Antoinette is expected to sell for up to $84,000 at auction. A French auction house lists the 18th century guitar as a rare type of instrument created in Paris around 1775. An expert with auction house says the guitar is exquisite, calling it a treasure of refinement. The auction house notes there is no documentation accompanying it. But based on various historical accounts, the instrument is believed to be a gift from the last queen of France before the French Revolution. An argument over an open door turns fatal in Florida. Authorities say tensions declared between elderly and residents and eventually led to a fatal gunfire. Terry Parker reports.
It all started over an open laundry room door.
What is going on?
My husband just shot 2 people, and I believe he killed them.
According to the arrest affidavit, Hugh Hoopman told detectives several days ago his downstairs neighbor, Henry Wallace, yelled at Hoopman's wife for leaving the shared laundry room door open. And when he saw 81-year-old Henry at the mailbox Saturday, Hoopman told Henry he needed to apologize.
A neighbor downstairs just the other day shouted at me and swore at me regarding the washer and dryer.
Hoopman told detectives when Wallace tried to push past him without apologizing, quote, "I lost my temper," and he pulled out his gun and shot him several times. When his wife, Ginger Wallace, ran outside yelling, he said he shot her twice.
I heard her yell, "Oh, no, no."
And then she screamed, and then she was silent.
Oh my gosh.
That'll stay with me all my days.
Kathy Barker says she was outside and she heard Ginger Wallace scream as she opened the door and realized her husband had been shot. According to the affidavit, Hootman said when Henry Wallace tried to walk past him, Hootman pulled out the gun he carried in his pocket and shot him several times. When Ginger came out and began yelling, police say Hootman told them he shot her too. Next door neighbor Raymond Bowes heard the shots, opened the door to see a shocked mailman calling 911.
She was curled up like a baby. And he was standing there, and he was on the phone and asked me, said, "You calling the cops?" He goes, "Yeah."
Deputies say Hootman went upstairs to tell his wife, "Call the police, I just shot Henry and Ginger." The SWAT team arrived and took Hootman into custody. Detectives say he said, "So sorry, I wish I could take it back."
Decades after an alleged serial killer took his own life, authorities in Indiana are gathering all the facts in a very unique way. Stay with us when the news feed returns.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes.
In the wake of the Jeffrey Dahmer Netflix series, the home of another alleged serial killer in Indiana is back in the limelight. Herb Baumeister is accused of luring young men to his home in the 80s and 90s and murdering them. Some of the remains have been found buried in his backyard. Garrett Berquist has the details.
We don't go looking for the bones, but they do turn up.
Perhaps a dozen families' questions hinge on what these dogs find.
I don't think we really know. The official number I was always told was 11 because they found 11 left hand thumb bones. So they know there was at least 11 left hands. But because of the sheer number of bones and the inability to DNA test them, the estimate that I was always told was 17 to 20.
11 cadaver dogs from Indy Canine Search and Rescue spent the day combing the woods behind Robert Graves' home. At one time, the house and the land around it belonged to Herb Baumeister, seen here in an archival News 8 interview. Authorities believe Baumeister lured young men to his Westfield home in the 1980s and 1990s and murdered them. He took his own life in 1996 before authorities could question him.
I can tell you after the Dahmer show on Netflix was shown, interest here went up quite a bit. People want to see where things happen, and this is a pretty infamous case.
Graves has now owned the property for 15 years.
I honestly, if someone doesn't ask me about it, I don't think about it on a daily basis. When we first moved here, I certainly did. But over time, it's been enough time that I just don't think about it.
The Hamilton County Coroner's Office says searchers marked areas where the dogs appeared to have found something. Officials say they'll talk to law enforcement and the University of Indianapolis's lab to figure out the best way to proceed. Graves says he hopes the new search will answer everyone's questions once and for all.
I hope they find any remains that have not been found and they get some identification so the families can have some kind of closure.
A North Carolina woman had a day she'll never forget. After both giving birth and winning the lottery, Brenda Gomez Hernandez delivered her baby girl November 9th. Just hours later, she won $100,000 in the Power Up lottery drawing. Hernandez said her new baby brought her luck because she uses her children's birthday to pick her numbers.
Imagine everyone seeing your account balance when you use an ATM. That's what one such machine does. It's a special ATM made by Brooklyn art collective Mischief. The ATM lists the highest balances on a leaderboard, similar to the way old arcade games displayed high scores. The highest balance it recorded was $9.5 million. The ATM's camera photographed a colorfully dressed couple as the owners, but it's not quite clear who they are.
Here's Jason to give us the scoop on the weather.
Boy howdy, it is muggy outside, it is sticky, and it is cloudy. If you look behind us, a lot of clouds, but no rain in our immediate forecast. Few showers out here towards Waco, spotted showers out here east of Plano, with the rest of the rain back towards Texarkana. Tomorrow, on the other hand, it's a different story. Abilene, all the way up to Texarkana, expect rain. So keep your umbrellas handy and be safe on the roads because the conditions will make for some tough driving weather out there tomorrow. Fort Worth, Dallas, Irving's gonna get hit with the majority of the rain, the heavier spots. Denton, Sanger, Decatur, Mansfield, you will see some rain as well. It won't be as heavy as what we'll get here in the immediate center of the Metroplex, but you will get wet. Currently outside, 64 degrees and cloudy, expected high of 69. Going into the weekend, as we said, it's going to rain. 80% chance of rain. 68 is a high on Saturday. Sunday, it's going to be a different story. Cowboy game on Sunday, 65 degrees. It's good weather to end your weekend off. Starting your work week, though, it's going to be warm, 74 degrees. That cool weather's coming. 66 Tuesday, 54 Wednesday, and 53 Thursday. Look at these lows, though. 36, 36. That's the winter. That's the winter weather's coming on its way. Because Friday, we're going to top out at 49. Not going to make it to the 50s on Friday with that low of 37. As we get closer to Christmas, hopefully it cools down. If this is any indication, maybe we'll get a cool Christmas this year. Stay tuned. The news feed will return after this.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depressing stuff. That's what white people think.
You all right? It just feels like it's coming from everywhere. Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
STEM is everywhere. Like here, behind the scenes of The Walking Dead.
When we break down clothes, we tumble it with trisodium phosphate, rock salt, and dish detergent.
We stitched together images of our model and created a 3D set that can be walked through in a VR headset.
We're able to turn 12 walkers into 1,000 walker hordes.
STEM can create new worlds on and off the screen. What will you make with STEM? Get inspired at shecanstem.com.
A Maryland family says they're in shock after seeing a delivery driver take packages from their front porch that were delivered by another carrier. Tommy Clark has more.
We don't go looking for the bones, but they...
And
I happened to notice that there was packages missing. So we scrolled back through the cameras again, and I watched the Amazon person take them.
You heard that right. An Amazon delivery driver allegedly dropped off packages, and then you can see her take the items UPS had just dropped off. The woman even appears to be looking for a doorbell camera as she does it. What the Amazon driver didn't realize is that there may not be a camera with the doorbell, but there is still one up above, looking right down onto the front porch.
I was like, yeah, it's only been like an hour and a half. I bet I could find them. Like, they couldn't have got too far. It's Christmas.
Tommy Thorne's daughter, Gabrielle, then drove around the neighborhood and soon found the Amazon van blocks away and the woman in the video. After calling police, the mom and daughter duo decided to approach the porch pirate.
I did confront her, and she tried to tell me that she thought it was a return, and she knew it wasn't, and an argument ensued. She threw out a few of my things at me that were opened.
The Thornes say Maryland State Police eventually showed up, saying they were told the delivery driver was charged and the van seized.
This is insane. I wasn't expecting to actually find her. You know what I mean? Like, it's just shocking.
The Sykesville family now has one message for Marylanders. Get a camera.
Be vigilant. And watch your deliveries, watch your emails.
Last Sunday at New York's LaGuardia Airport, TSA agents uncovered 3 saw blades, a pair of nunchucks, a switchblade, and a folding knife in a passenger's carry-on bag. No punishment was given since the items aren't illegal. The passengers had to repack them in checked luggage. He told TSA he was moving, and that's why he brought them on his carry-on. The Transportation Security Administration is reminding passengers that all pets need to be in carrying cases. That's because someone placed a dog in a backpack and tried to get it through security in Madison, Wisconsin. The dog was noticed while the backpack was being run through the X-ray machine. Luckily, the dog was not harmed. This discovery comes weeks after someone packed a cat inside of a suitcase at JFK in New York.
A new Oregon law legalized the use of what are called magic mushrooms caused into effect in January. But one Portland store isn't waiting. A business called the Shroom House is not hiding that it is already selling the psychedelic in dispensary setting. Joe English reports from Portland.
Under Oregon law, misdemeanor psilocybin possession can get you a ticket and a fine up to $100. That's not scaring this crowd.
I kind of got the impression that, you'd see a dragon guarding the fridge.
But Cassie Cadence says that's not what using mushrooms did for her. She says it actually got her off the streets.
I'd been on all different types of prescription medications my whole, teenage years. And nothing like mushrooms has kind of hit that spot that actually gives me the motivation to want to keep living,
Jordan Larrabee was one of the mushroom buyers who waited as long as 2 hours to get into the store. Larrabee says he's a little apprehensive about what could happen legally, but sees it as a real gray area right now.
People are left well, what do we do now? We have people like this taking advantage of it where it's again, not illegal, but not legal. So it kind of hovers awkwardly in between. So we'll see how it goes.
The line outside snakes by Corey McCold's anime store. McCold says he's getting attention he hasn't seen before.
Yeah, a lot of people have been just peeking inside the store, watching the shows that I like to put on, and taking pictures, following the Instagram. It's been fun.
And the Shroom House has had a not-so-psychedelic effect on the neighborhood.
But we've lost all our parking on the street. There's virtually within blocks of here, there's no parking. And again, starting yesterday afternoon. And the residents are starting to get a little annoyed, that there's they used to be able to park here and now we can't.
At 90 years young, this great-grandmother has seen many proud moments. When the Newsfeed returns, we'll show you how she accomplished another victory.
Worried about your friend but don't know how to reach out?
You could say how are you or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR. It's so good. If you think you should check in, yeah, you should. Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health.
Whatever gets you talking.
Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
A Louisville doctor set down his stethoscopes on Fridays to work as a substitute teacher, and he donates that teaching paycheck back to the classroom, all to help fill a need in the community. Addie Miner reports.
Actually, I'm a primary care physician. I practice 4 mornings a week, so I'm semi-retired, part-time, and I use my Fridays to do the substitute teaching.
That was my favorite part.
Dr. Siliberti started subbing on Fridays of this year after hearing the district was short on teachers.
I thought it'd be a good way to give back to the community. I was actually educated in the Jefferson County public school system, and I thought it did a very good job for me.
He teaches students from kindergarten to 8th grade, math, science, English. He can do it all.
Well, I actually like school. I know that makes me a bizarre person, but I really did like school. I actually think learning is fun. It's definitely a learning experience for the substitute.
He likes to, make those connections with them, circulate around the room, work with kids one-on-one and talk with them. He's very soft-spoken, kind, just there to help.
He's subbed all over the city of Louisville, saying he's happy to go anywhere he's needed. On Friday, Dr. C was at Cane Run Elementary in a kindergarten class.
I've learned that kids are really kind of the same everywhere. They all have their different things going on in their life, and some are ready to learn and some of them aren't, but they all deserve the attention.
And he believes they deserve the right tools to learn. So Siliberti donates 100% of his paycheck from substitute teaching back to the classroom he worked in. The money is often used to buy books or add to the teacher's classroom budget.
But I'd love the kids to know that there are adults who they've never met before who actually care about them and their futures. That would be something I would love to see.
Old great-grandmother who left college in the 1950s but returned more than half a century later.
She's now about to graduate. Karen Jordan has her inspiring story.
In just a few days, Joyce DeFau will finally wear her cap and gown and officially cross the stage at Northern Illinois University, a journey that began in 1951. This was her college ID.
I went 3.5 years and then I quit. In the meantime, I met this certain gentleman that stole my heart and my eye, and we decided to get married.
Joyce grew up in a small farming community outside the Quad Cities, going to grade school in a one-room schoolhouse. A few years after dropping out of college to get married, Joyce's life took another turn.
We had 3 children, and then he passed away, and I was widowed 5 years.
Joyce eventually remarried and had 6 more children. That college diploma seemed further away.
I was just busy with the family from, I would say, 55 until, that's when I married, until 2019.
Now a grandmother of 17, Joyce says while she didn't think much about returning to college, it was always a wish.
I guess I told my children, I wish I'd have finished, way back when instead of, and they said, well, what's stopping you now? Some of the children suggested that, and I thought, well, nothing, I guess.
So with the help of her adult children, Joyce, who was no longer driving, began taking classes using a computer, she says, for the first time.
I did not have one. I never knew how to use one, but we got one. They got one for me, and that's how I went to class.
In 4 years of taking classes, Joyce was on campus only once when NIU honored students doing well after the first semester. And now she will return in person to finish the journey that began nearly 70 years ago with this message for others like her younger self.
Don't give up. Even if you do quit, go back. Just hang in there. Keep learning. Keep giving thanks. It's there for you. Just go for it.
Thank you so much for joining us today on the Newsfeed. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.